looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Hey folks, happy Friday evening. This is Scotty Roberts, your host here on my program, the Intrepid radio program, right here on the Odyssey Radio Network. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. At the same time, realize that you are right now live, presently listening and watching via my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts. You can hit that join button down below the video window, and there's 3 different ways you can join and become a member of this channel. It's $2 a month, $5 a month, $15 a month. All depends on what you want to get out of it. And of course, the show is always free. So you can come in any night of the week, Monday through Friday, and also Sunday mornings, and catch this program. And so I want to thank you all for being here. It's Friday. It was a hot day here today. And I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but man, is it warm here. But we had a redeeming, cool breeze today. And so that helped out an awful lot. So I want to say hey to everybody that's starting to come in. We've got, who have we got anyway? We've got Barbie D. You're it. And Steve Clark so far. How you doing, Steve Clark? Good to see you. Friday nights always start out a little slow, and then everybody comes on in. So that's good. Doesn't matter, though. The show must go on. If there's one or there's 1,000 of you. And so if you're out there hiding in the wings, you are welcome to come and make your face known in the chat room. So you can go right ahead and join us, or just sit out there and watch and listen. And there you go. Heat index for Steve Clark got up over 110. Yeah, that's pretty gross when it gets like that. And it's been kind of oppressively hot here this summer. And so we got a cool breeze right now, which is nice. And by cool, I don't mean like 50 degrees. I mean, it just cooled things off a bit. So it was kind of nice. So it gets a little, and we got flies. What is with the flies? Does anybody else around the country have fly infestation? I don't know what it is over here, but at any given time, we can be standing in the garage or out on the patio, and there's 30, 40 flies just landing all over things. And so we're constantly putting up fly strips outside and fly traps and burning, not estrogen. I was going to say estrogen candles. What are those? Those candles that you burn for bugs and mosquitoes. It'll come to me. Not estrogen. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And so, not eucalyptus, not. Hey, Ryan Gale. You got life size on my TV. All right. Hey, Ryan, how's this? Bigger than life size now? Now I'm smaller than life size. So, hey, Ryan Gale, good to have you in here tonight. And so, yeah, it's been hot and humid, and I'm not looking forward to winter. I am looking down to mellowing out a bit. I like the autumn, the coming of autumn, because it starts to mellow out. Now, generally by, the end of September, it starts to quiet down. The weather starts to cool off a bit. I know when we did the Renaissance Festival, which was 7 weekends and Labor Day, the way we advertised it, starting usually mid-August, which is, I think they're starting this next weekend, tomorrow, at the Renaissance Festival. Then it runs for 7 weekends. And it was always a crapshoot. It was always hot out there. We always wore the big costumes, and it was always warm. And, we had the removable sleeves on the doublets and stuff like that. But when it was really hot, it was really hot out there. Sometimes it'd be really hot all the way to the end of the season. Other times we had snow in the air. It wasn't landing on the ground. It was like those movies like, Gladiator, I think of it at the very beginning, where Richard Harris is playing Marcus Aurelius, and they bring the troops to the Black Forest, and he rides up on his horse, and there's snow in the air. No snow on the ground, just a little fluffy flakes flying. That's the way it would get out at festivals sometimes, and that was kind of nice. It was nice to be in those big, heavy costumes in the impending cool. So, end of September is where it will all come together for us. And by then, of course, we'll be in the new digs, probably the second weekend in September, and we'll be living there. And by the second weekend. And then, of course, by the third weekend, we're going to be gone to Disney World. My daughters, who own Finfolk Productions. You go to Finfolk, FINFOLK.com, finfolk.com, and you'll see my daughters, Abby and Bryn, started that company 9 years ago. And you can see what all they do there. But they're doing rather well. And a few months back, those of you who know, who haven't heard this already, they are taking our whole family to Disney World the third week in September. And they flew out here from North Carolina to Wisconsin to surprise our kids and give them tickets and all of that stuff. So they bought the airline tickets already, and they bought a week of a week's stay at one of the on-site resorts. I think it's the Wilderness Resort, something like that is in the name, at Disney World. And then we're going to do a day or two at the Universal as well. So it's going to be a fun week. Tiring, I think, but we'll get to see a lot of stuff and have a lot of fun. And that was all on my daughters. So we'll be gone for a week in there. I may report in, but we'll probably announce at the time, which is a month away now. We'll probably, as we get closer, let you know the dates we will either not be here or will be in limited broadcast for about a week. And so Barbie D says it's warm here also, but not as humid, finally. Yeah, what part of the country are you in again, Barbie D? What state are you in? Because, it's up here in Wisconsin, Minnesota. I think, as I've said before, the misnomer is that it's all a frozen tundra up here, the Great White North, because we have, really icy cold winters. And they get down pretty low. This last winter in February, through the month of February, was like 30 below zero. That's when Rainey had both the cars broke down on her because the cold just destroyed them. And she was fixing 2 cars and all that when I was down in Louisiana. And so it gets bitterly cold, but it also is flip-flop. It's almost subtropical here in the summers. If we didn't have the cold winters, we'd be tropical up here because it can get to be 100, 105 with high heat indexes due to the humidity and the dew points. And it's just drippy, oveny type of living up here in the summer. And it can get very oppressive. But it's the fall and the spring, those middle seasons that make it gorgeous to live up here. So those are what I like. And then we've got, hey, Field Guy. Field Guy entered the room. Good to see you. He says, I'm Hi, all. I'm a chat in a second. I got to end my live. Okay, I'm done. I was trying to get some more people in here. Thank you, Field Guy. I appreciate that. Hey, Gaza from Australia. You didn't get any big storms heading in America this year. Not so far. It doesn't seem that we've gotten a lot. Locally, yeah, I think you're probably talking about hurricane season. Those all hit down in kind of the East Coast and the Southeast and the Gulf, those states down there. And of course, that's all. How many miles is that for us? 2,000 miles? I can't even remember now. No, it's 950 miles from here in Wisconsin. We'll drive out to the East Coast. Probably looks backwards the way I'm showing you with my fingers. But if we go from Wisconsin, and I'll do it backwards for you, out to the East Coast, 950 miles to the Carolinas. And then we had to drive down to Louisiana, which was about another 650, 700 miles. It was like a big lopsided triangle. But straight up from down there, we're about 1,250 miles, something like that. Anyway, all that to say, you get the bad weather down in the east and the southeast. Doesn't always hit you up here, but it affects you up here one way or the other. Hey, Archaeology Mikey 007. Good to see you. Hey, Field Guy and Barbie D and Nick Molnar and Steve. Nick, I didn't see Nick. How you doing, Nick Molnar? Good to see you. From Canada, hey? I did a Canada. I know you probably get really tired of hearing that. But, we've got Canadians that say that. Just, I'm only 7 hours from the Canadian border here because I'm down in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area in Minnesota. So we just drive straight north for 6 or 7 hours, and we're up at Lake of the Woods and places like that, and the Rainy River, which separates Minnesota from Canada up there. And everybody up there is like, hey, can we see your passport, eh? And so, yeah, it happens. It happens. And Uncle Dave is in the room. Dave Potter, welcome. Good to see you, brother. Glad everybody's coming in. Nick, I don't know if I know you, Nick, but it's good to have you here from Canada. Who else have we got? We've got Archaeology Mikey. Good to see you. I don't know if I know you by another name, but welcome to the show. And it's good to have you in here. And so, by way of an archaeology update, by the way, which is just off the top of my head, and it made me think of it when I saw Archaeology Mikey's 007 moniker there. John Ward and Maria Nilsson are going to be going back to Gebel El Silsila to start up their season, I think pretty soon. I think they're still talking about the winter season now, which would probably be September, somewhere in there to October. And so I wish I was going out there this year. I'm not. And we should have one of them come on the show, if not both of them, and give an update of what they're doing over there. They have put Gebel El Silsila back on the map. And by the things they've found there, the discoveries they've made there, some pretty astounding stuff. Now, did you know, you see it in some of the archaeological documentaries and the shows that are out there, some of the technology that they have, the laser technology, the LINAR, I think it's called. And they've done some of that. There's the old Speas of Horemheb, which is, Horemheb is the general who succeeded King Tut on the throne. And there is a shrine to him, a shrine temple. And it's a Speas, meaning it's carved out of the bedrock. And so you can go back into this temple, the shrine, and there's all of Horemheb's inscriptions all over, all of his hieroglyphs. That is that main building that you see when I've been there and I've sent back pictures, the Speas of Horemheb on the Nile. That was where we would always moor our boat, our dahabeah. And that was our dig house, was the boat. But you go up in there now, they've done some technological scans in there since I was there last. Some LINAR scans. And they have found that, and they've published this work, so I know this isn't secret. I know I can talk about this, because I've seen it in public, talked about. They're able to scan and see what's underneath those inscriptions. Because in Egyptian times is today too, if you're in Egypt. what I meant by that was ancient Egyptian times, when these pharaohs and these leaders would put their inscriptions on temples, sometimes they used what was called erasure, and they would scrape off the old carvings, the old relief carvings of like names or cartouches and so on. They put their own in, the new pharaoh. And so they would usurp a temple or usurp a shrine. Well, they looked with the LiDAR scans on LiDAR or LiDAR. Now I can't remember the exact way to say it. But they found that Hatshepsut, who was, let's see, of Tut, she would have been like the great grandmother or something like that, or great aunt or something. But Hatshepsut, her inscriptions are beneath those of Horemheb. So the shrine was actually a shrine to Hatshepsut, of Hatshepsut's. So I think that that's very interesting to find out. And so that's some of the work that they're doing over there, as well as last few years I have uncovered the old temple there and so on. So this is I think, very interesting stuff. So that's all I've got for an archaeological update at the moment. I'll maybe talk to John and we'll see if we can get them on, or at least get John on here. I know Marie, I've gotten Marie on here before too. So we'll see what we can do to get them on. So, yes, Matthew, Mainsbury reigned for 22 years. 2 years. And so who was the rightful pharaoh when she started to reign? Matthew, do you know that one? The rightful pharaoh, what I mean by that is who was supposed to be pharaoh, but she kind of, she was co-regent for a while, and then she took over. And what did she do with him? Do you remember? Hey, Nick Molinar, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. And so just a little something to say hello from the Great White North. Coo, 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 coo. Now that dates me, the Great White North. So, Nick, I don't know how old you are, but if you got that reference, you know what I'm talking about. You're about my age then. So, yep, Tutmos III. Tutmosis III. He was the about 3 to 5 year old son of Tutmosis II, who was the brother to Hatshepsut, but they were married, the regnal marriages, you know. And she was Matkare at the time. And when he died at a fairly young age, his son, the rightful pharaoh, Tutmosis III, was only about 3 to 5 years old, so he couldn't rule. So Hatshepsut became co-regent, and then she made the case that my father, Tutmosis I, wanted me to be pharaoh someday. And so she ended up becoming the pharaoh herself. This is why she dressed in the men's robes, the beard, and the fake beard and all of that, because she was a woman ruling in a man's place. And so that's what she did. And then Tutmos III wasn't her son. He was the son of her husband from a harem wife and a lesser wife. But he was the only son, so he became the next pharaoh. But she sent him up to Mennefer or Memphis up in the north, which is at the mouth of the Nile Delta. You can still go there today. And it's just a little south of Cairo, and up there by 20 miles, something like that. And that was the northern capital, and he grew up there. And he became the general of her armies up there. And there was never a revolt, never a coup attempt, or anything like that. And until she died 22 years later. And he was 22 years later, and if he was at the most 6 years old when his father died, he'd be 28 years old coming to the throne. And so as a 28-year-old man, he took over. And he's the one that started removing the images of Hatshepsut from everything to establish that he was the pharaoh. And then he left off. And it was his son who almost 40 years later finished the job and took all of her and removed all her images. And of course, that leads into the story of Senenmut back there behind my shoulder and Hatshepsut. And so We've been through all that before. So we'll do that another time. Hey, Corey Blake. I saw somebody say hi, Corey. There he is. Sorry I'm late, he says. That's okay. I was late, too. I didn't get here till 9:02. So, anyway. So it's good to have you, Corey. Always love seeing you there. Something about that. You and I have to talk or something. Because every time I see you, I get a little warm spot going on. In my heart. You know, not my pants or anything. You know, it's not like oh, I'm seeing Corey. And, you know, we used to have a friend. That just makes me think, because I was talking at a festival. We had one of the actors out there. He played a village idiot, Pastorius. And he would say to his partner on the street in theater, he said, "I'm going to pee now." And he said, "Well, go ahead, go pee." And he'd stop and he'd go, "Okay, I'm done." And so, anyway, that's what I was talking about. Sorry, Corey. Gaza says, "Come to the front of the class, Corey, and sit down. Make noise for your lateness." There it is. And so, and you're welcome, Corey. So let's, we've been talking about the main topic, has been this whole, very tongue-in-cheek title of a book, that was Jesus Potter, Harry Christ. And this was written by Derek Murphy, and it's published through Holy Blasphemy Press in Portland, Oregon. And his book is all about this idea, as his subtitle said, the fascinating parallels between two of the world's most popular literary characters. Now, you can't really look at Jesus and say he is only a literary character. He is a historical character. But there are many scholars that want to contest that say they don't think Jesus was as historical as we make him out to be. And of course, they're saying he probably existed, maybe under even another name, but that all the attributes of what we think is the historical Jesus or the biblical Jesus were things that were added later by his followers. And I really sit on the fence with some of that, because I have a belief that his followers created Christianity in the same vein that Moses created Judaism or Muhammad created Islam. All of these things had leaders that put things together the way they thought they should flow. And all of them had prophets or were the prophet. And so all of these have things that all smack of being alike. And that is, anthropologically speaking, that they all were religions started by people, and that people perpetuated those movements. And, oh, by the way, there's Brianna. Hey, Brianna. Neighbor. Howdy, neighbor. It's my across the street neighbor, Brianna. I don't know why they blocked your post there. All it is an emoji with glasses and a mustache. I don't get it. So I don't know why that was held for review by a moderator. And I don't think I have any moderators in here tonight, as funny as that may seem. Let's see. Nick Molar says, I do lives every now and then. I love to chat with people all the time. There you go, brother. And that's pretty cool. So, yeah, YouTube hates emojis. Okay, there you go. Field Guy's an unofficial mod right now. So, all of this stuff in this book is stuff that I think is worth looking at, because there is a case being made that Harry Potter, while he started out being very heavily criticized by the religious right and fundamentalists and all of that in the Christian community, he ended up not being so criticized after J.K. Rowling got into her later books. It's like the table is kind of turned there. And so let's kind of pick up where we left off on that last night. We were talking about the negative Christian responses to Harry Potter. Now keep in mind, when we talk Harry Potter nowadays, I think the movies made just as big an impact as some of the books, because when you think of Harry Potter, you think of the movie imagery comes to mind. But these books, as we talked about a couple of nights ago, when the third book came out, Harry Potter and, wait, what was it? It was The first one was the Philosopher's Stone. Second one was the Chamber of Secrets. The third one, I think, wasn't that the Prisoner of Azkaban? Then I went to Goblet of Fire. I know the last one was the Deathly Hallows, but that was book 7. So I'm missing 2 in there somewhere. But by the beginning of the release of the third book, Harry Potter, the first day that book was released, sold 11.8 million copies in one day. And I think it was over the next, or the second day or throughout the next week, they sold another 8 million copies. And so the book was definitely a literary success. And of course, we all know how it went on from there. But because of all that success and all the kids reading that and the themes contained therein, you had a lot of religious people on the right in Christianity, never probably read the books at all. Admittedly, some of them had never read the books, who were criticizing it as the gateway to sorcery, the gateway to the occult, to Satanism, to all these things. And you had a very hardcore, from what we talked about in our last little series, talking about how religions create themselves, when we were talking about Christo-paganism, how religions that are out there, they create for themselves these walls they build around themselves. And they say, we are the only ones that are right about this. And then that's what makes their religion something that's so exclusive to themselves. And of course, they wall out everybody else. There's just so many things you can't do. So the Christian community started really balking at J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter books, and Christian kids shouldn't read them. They even had Christian circles were burning books, burning Harry Potter book fests, burning fests. Now, how ridiculous is that? But it happened. And so the fact that there were those isolated cases of the Harry Potter book burnings by fundamentalist religious groups shouldn't lead us to the assumption that all Christians were anti-Potter. And Dave Potter, you'll be happy to know that not all Christians are anti-Potter. But on the contrary, many of the most authoritative sources have given the series of their support, the book series. And on January 10th of 2000, we're talking, this is 21 years ago already. Christianity Today, big Christian publication. They published the editorial, Why We Like Harry Potter. And in the article, they said this. Rowling has created a world with real good and evil. And Harry is definitely on the side of light, fighting the dark powers. Excuse me. I got water here tonight. And third, and this is out of an article, so it's lifted out of an article. This is the third point she was making in the article. And this is why we recommend the books. Rowling's series is a book of virtues with a pre-adolescent funny bone. And amid the laugh-out-loud scenes are wonderful examples of compassion, loyalty, courage, friendship, and even self-sacrifice. No wonder young readers want to be like these believable characters. That is a Christmas present we can be grateful for. Now, that was from Why We Like Harry Potter, written for Christianity Today. And Christians who've read the series have even found that they can be useful instruments for spreading the gospel message. John Killinger, for example, says glowingly, the Potter stories, far from being wicked or satanic, are in fact narratives of robust faith and morality, entirely worthy of children's reading again and again and again, and even becoming world classics that will be reprinted as long as there is a civilization. So there were Christians out there, Christian groups that were in variance against those who were condemning Harry Potter. And I dare say the ones condemning Harry Potter are the same dark Christian circles you would see like the Westboro Baptist Church that are condemning everybody right and left, condemning gays, condemning this person, condemning that person, and so on. and this way of thought. It was that very strict sort of religion. What am I seeing here? There seems to be some heavy-duty talking over here. Let's see. This is my story is here. Unfortunately, the church is so closed-minded and brainwashed, they're missing out. Exactly. This is my story. We'll call you Story for short in here, so I don't have to say the whole thing. And welcome to the show, by the way. Not sure who you are. May have seen you before under a different moniker, but that's the one we'll go with now. Story says that. Corey Blake says, wasn't there something about some of the spells in the book being from the real spell books or something? I had seen some of that, and I think some of those spells are real spells. They're simple spells. They were very elemental spells. They weren't like calling out the dark demons or something like that. So, for lack of a better way to describe it. Some spells, can you have a prosperity spell? Can you have a, I'm trying to think of one, can you have love spells? Yeah, those all exist. So whether or not those are the real spells, I don't know. I think if you want to see some real weird magic shit going on, spell work and so on, that's where, as I mentioned last night, go watch the series Supernatural. As they started getting deeper and deeper into their series, there were some people writing for that show who knew their shit, knew what they were talking about, both when it comes to the angelic, demonic, and the magical side of things. So I think, Corey, that's all I really know on that. Not all Christians are closed-minded, but they fear what they don't know, says Story. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. They're not all closed-minded, but they don't know things, and there's certain things they don't want to know because they think it violates what their faith is supposed to be. And as we were covering in Christo-paganism, I don't think it always violates. It does depend on interpretation, though, and historical stance from your religious body. So, let's see. Brianna says, "Oh, Scotty, do you need me to come and check on you?" Oh, Brianna, would you? You know, it's kind of quiet in here, and everybody's doing stuff, and it's so lonely. So if you're coming over, get your butt over here. So we could have Brianna join us. You'll see how, if she comes over, you'll see how close they actually are to us. It takes about 30 seconds to get here. If you leave now, you can make it to Louisiana soon, says Field Guy, Brianna. Let's see. Brianna says, Barbie, I should storm. Barbie, the storm must be coming. The storm must be coming. Punctuation. Because my phone keeps lagging. There you go. Yeah, we got some storms. I think they were supposed to move in here tonight, but I don't think they're going to make it. So doesn't the Bible say don't practice magic? Yeah, it does, Corey. It has the whole thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. We've already thrown that out. You can trash that one because that doesn't mean what we think it means. And it meant basically, without breaking it all down again into all the different words for witch, there were several different words that got interpreted in English all as witch, but they were all different things. Herbalists, physicians, sorcerers, casters of spells, necromancers, diviners, all of these people existed. And and we only knew them all as the one word witch. And when it's saying in the Old Testament, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, it's saying it really, the contextual meaning in the Hebrew is, do not let an evil sorcerer who casts spells to do harm upon people live amongst you in your communities. Now that's a lot wordier than thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. But that was the implication of the words used in the Hebrew. It wasn't about putting them to death. It was about not letting them live in your community. And then in the New Testament, there were lists of things that you won't do if you don't have the Spirit of God. And amongst those things were, it was almost like the Levitical list. Don't eat shellfish. Don't come within 10 feet of menstruating women. And don't let homosexuals practice what they do that's unnatural. And then it throws in there, and don't steal another man's sheep. So, this Levitical law. New Testament almost had something like that, where it would list the certain kinds of things that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be, if you're, and I don't remember the exact context, out of God's will or not doing the thing God wants you to do. If you do this list of things, and amongst those were divining and necromancy and all of those things. But there were other things in the list too. And so while those things exist, it was probably translated wrong many times, says Corey Blake. Might have been better description of them in the original Arabic. Yeah, I think so. Or either the Koine Greek, there's very little Arabic, but there is Aramaic in the New Testament, and a little bit of, there's Koine Greek, Aramaic, and something else, a little tiny bit of something else. Yeah, what you see in the New Testament, it can be greatly expanded on by understanding the language. So all of this, when you wrap it all up, Christians who approve of Harry Potter have trouble accepting the argument that the Narnia or the Lord of the Rings, which also feature magic, spells, warfare, mythological symbols, talking animals, half-breeds like elves and centaurs, that they're better material for Christian children. And indeed, there's no argument that can hold against Harry Potter and not also be used against hundreds of other classic and contemporary children's stories. So you know what happens when you adhere to something that says Christians can't read Harry Potter? You're pretty much lopping off a large slice of the pie, a large percentage, and I don't have numbers, that's why I'm putting it that way, a large percentage of classic literature. And so you're basically telling Christian kids you can't read the classics unless it was written by somebody who studied Scripture. And that's the problem we run into. It's contended that the content of the stories, rather than the intention of the authors, has to be honestly appraised. And if we ban one book based on specific criteria, all others in those categories should be judged similarly. Do we have to say that Lewis's stories, and we're talking about Sinclair Lewis, do we have to say Lewis's stories promote Wicca and conclude that they're unsuitable for children and Christians? And if we take this position that the Harry Potter stories, with the Harry Potter stories, then the answer is yes. The argument can be extended to include most other popular fantasy tales, The Good Witch and the Wizard of Oz, the magic in Disney stories like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty and Beauty and the Beast, or The Little Mermaid, many of which are allowed by Christian parents. And as Marcia Hone, or Haney, I guess it is, I pronounce it Hoehne, observed in a letter to the editor of Christianity Today, she said, Rowling's story, which she has described as an epic novel in 7 parts, rather than a book with 6 sequels, is an epic novel of good versus evil, where the heroes require help beyond natural strength, and where good wins out. Are Hogwarts witches more sinister than Oz's, than Mary Poppins? It would be refreshing if Christians would look up from the pulp fiction and animated videos long enough to educate themselves in the field of literature so that they might think through and discuss its complexities and themes as ably as the world does. That's pretty profound. What do we got here? Sean says, hi, Scotty Robertson and Intrepheads. It's good to have you here, Sean. Glad you're in here, brother. And who else we got? Story says, the so-called church has caused so many wars. That is so true. I used to hear, my grandfather used to say that. He was an agnostic Jew. And probably darn close to atheist. And he would say the same things. He says, all religion has done is cause hurt and pain and war and death. You look at our own series we did on this show almost 2 years ago now, talking about Gnostic Christianity, early Christian church in the 1st century and the 2nd century, and how they were at war with the literalist Orthodox Church, which became in the 3rd century the Holy Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church. And the Roman Catholic Church won that war But what did they have to do? They would put the mystic religion practitioners, the Gnostic Christians, they would put them to death because they didn't believe the same things. And that's how they won that war of the minds, that war of ideology. And I never once in the Bible saw Jesus calling anybody to kill everybody else who doesn't believe in him. Maybe the Old Testament God did that, but it wasn't supposed to be. You have nothing like that repeated by Jesus in the New Testament. It's people who do that, religions. So there is people that support the Harry Potter novels. They always pointed out that the plot revolves around the battle between good and evil. Did you notice that in Harry Potter? The whole storyline is the rise of evil, the past evil that had been subdued, but is sleeping and is rising again in Voldemort. And it's the whole series of books and movies is all about the battle between good and evil. And also that Jesus Christ has at least a little in common with Harry Potter. This is where this idea begins, for this whole idea of Jesus, Potter, Harry, Christ, the fascinating similarities between these two characters. In addition, the two stories share a moral theme, like love, sacrifice, honor, bravery, honesty, and friendship, as well as challenging moral lessons that have to be learned as the characters struggle through the plot. Harry Potter, therefore, it can be argued, stems from a Judeo-Christian ethos. The willingness of non-Christians to discuss an interesting and neutral topic such as Harry Potter can even be used as a platform towards more in-depth conversations about spiritual themes. Chuck Colson, if you remember him, he was one of Nixon's advisors, and he went to prison, but he found God in that time, and it really stuck with me. He started prison ministries after he was released from prison himself. But he instructed that interest in Harry Potter can be used to turn readers toward more Christian books. He said, if your kids do develop a taste for Harry Potter and his wizard friends, this interest might just open them up to an appreciation for other fantasy books with a distinctly Christian worldview. When your kids finish reading Harry Potter, give them C.S. Lewis's Narnia books. I think I said Sinclair Lewis earlier. C.S. Lewis wrote the Narnia books. Sinclair Lewis was a Minneapolis writer, grew up in Minnesota. And that's why my mind naturally went there. But of the same era, by the way. And so his Narnia books and J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. These books also feature wizards and witches, magical potions. I have no idea what that is. My phone does that every now and then. I don't even know what that chime is. I've never heard it before today. I've gotten it twice today now, 3 times. So there are witches, magical potions, wizards in Lord of the Rings. But in addition, they inspire the imagination within a quote-unquote Christian framework. And they prepare the hearts of readers for a real-life story of Jesus Christ. This is what Chuck Colson said. And let's see, I'm looking at some of your Corey Blake you caught me with. I heard different about Salem. A lot of finger-pointing by the men and the women, strange things afoot. Yeah, and it just became a thing that it was like cancel culture. All I would have to do is say, I saw Corey Blake speaking with the devil. And everybody would go, arrest Corey Blake. And you'd have to prove that you're not a witch. On the basis of my word alone, I saw you cavorting with Satan. And so that's basically what happened in Salem. And you want to say, what a bunch of backwater, dumbass people would believe that bullshit. But this is what they believed. So I hear voices outside, and I don't think they sound like my wife. What we got? Hey, we got John and Bree coming in, guys. So how you all doing with John and Bree now? Jesus. Hey, guys. Hey, John.
Hi, everybody.
Is that the same shirt you had on last night?
No.
Oh, okay. Just looks like it.
No, it was
Hey, Bree.
Captain America yesterday.
Oh, Captain America. when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
You didn't see my comment at 9:46.
We are locked out. Oh, I see. Now I didn't know that.
Yeah, the door was locked.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rainey
It's
must
okay.
have locked the door.
It's okay. Rainey came down with no pants on.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
She was pulling
She's
her
going
shirt
like
down.
this.
She was just about to get in the shower.
Oh, nice. So she ran down with nothing on but a shirt.
Yeah.
Nice, and let you guys in.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear the doorbell. So
I didn't ring the doorbell.
Yeah.
So there you go. But we're talking about, of course, Harry Potter and some of the positive Christian responses to it. You guys read the Harry Potter books or just seen the movies?
I read one book, and it took me like 6 years to read it.
6 years to read it.
I read
That's
3
right. You're not
pages.
much of a reader.
I'm not much of a reader, but
Not that he can't read. It's not his thing.
I just don't get into books, really.
Uh,
But I do have quite a bit of knowledge about the movies.
yes.
I know
We
that's
did a
not the same.
marathon and watched all of them.
Oh, nice.
Done it multiple
Like
times.
all in one day?
I think it took 2 days.
I was going to say, that's got to be about 15 hours of movie watching.
Yeah.
With the uncut versions. So yeah, Flynn is getting into. I'm getting into starting to wanting to read those. I started reading the books to the kids, and we got the big picture ones,
Yeah,
that you can buy.
Well,
They're in the
gone
shelf out in the
now,
living room.
But
They're out there. They might be packed up out there even.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my daughters Abby and Bryn grew up on Harry Potter.
very last comment.
That's so. Dave Potter. That's so Olsen. I'm surprised she put on the shirt. Yeah, that's Rainey.
I think we
so-
pushed the door right as she took her pants off.
Nice. So yeah, she was gonna hop in the bath or something with the little girl upstairs. So while I was doing the show. So what did Barbie see? I'm not for once. This is. Oh, that's probably a response to something. No pants. Too funny. There it is. Story. That's my wife. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go, hey, take over the show. I'm going to go see my wife with no pants.
Good luck trying to get in there.
Why are the kids?
Probably.
Yeah.
And Lucy.
So I
Lucy, the
heard
dog.
that the author of Harry Potter,
J.K. Rowling.
actually made a mistake in the movie.
What's that?
Well, so the basilisk fang that
Mhm.
was able to stab the
Right,
diary,
right.
which find out later was one of the Horcruxes.
Yeah.
It should have technically killed Harry Potter because he got bit by it, and you found out that he was a Horcrux. At that time, when she wrote that book, she did not think it was going to get as popular as it did. So she had to have a way to go around that. So I thought that
That's
bit of
interesting.
interesting information. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm not wearing pants either.
And you don't have your shirt pulled down. So, yeah. So every day, Scott Allen, every day is a no pants day for me.
I got a screenshot of your face last night
Doing what?
in the show when you found out you were touching my butt.
Oh yeah, I got to rub Bree's butt last night. If you weren't here, folks, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was an okay experience. Don't get me wrong. It was just fine. It was great and all of that stuff. And but I thought it was my wife's butt.
What?
I thought it was my wife's butt when I was touching
I
it.
thought you said white spot. I'm like, what?
Oh no. Thought it was my wife's butt. So Rainey was right next to her, and I'm talking, and it's so second nature for me when Rainey's here. I put my arm around her and I touch her on the butt and stuff, and safe stuff. We're talking on the radio, and so we're talking here, and I had my arm around, and I touched Rainey's shoulder around the back of Bree, and I put my hand down and I start rubbing Bree's butt without even thinking about it. So if you weren't here last night, that's what went on around here.
It was a good show you missed.
That's what goes on around
That's why
here.
you should tune in every day. You
That's
never know
right.
what you'll see.
Never know what's going on here.
Or when we'll just
So-
randomly run in the house. Scotty!
Yeah, or Rennie comes running out in her pants, without pants, or without a top the other night. So,
We weren't-
anyway.
I missed that one.
So, did you see her butt?
No.
No, she hid behind the door.
What kind of? How did
What
she
kind-
let you in?
What kind of host?
How'd she let you in?
She hid behind the door.
She ran in, and then she was like kind of holding her shirt down,
What do
covering
you want?
everything
What are you doing?
up, hiding behind the door. And
Okay, and then you guys came in. How did she get past you?
She walked behind us.
Oh, she walked behind you.
Yeah.
So there you go.
you have a lot of reflective surfaces in your house.
We do have a lot of reflective surfaces.
Why are you
So
looking?
They just happen.
it's just
I
you had a
didn't-
nice
I
pair.
didn't put all the reflective.
You had a nice pair of
surfaces there.
shorts on today. I was looking.
I don't
It's
know.
like you're like I'm averting my eyes, oh Lord,
Yes.
and so yeah.
I'm not looking.
Not looking. I'm not looking. So, yeah, Bree tends to wear very short,
It's hot
not
in
quite
summer.
butt cheek revealing, but cut off shorts. You know, Daisy Dukes, you could call them.
Hey, don't say too much. Field guy might get too excited.
Oh yeah, sorry, field guy. And so everybody's got their yeah. Speaking of butt cracks, oh my goodness, y'all are cracking me up. It's so good to laugh. Says this is my story. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you're cracking up.
I want to know who that is now.
Yeah, I want to know who that is too. It might not be anybody I know. I thought it might have been somebody I know. Everybody comes in with different monikers now and then.
Like last night.
And it doesn't matter. If you don't have to reveal nothing. Dave Potter, what did Dave Potter say? I'm not wearing any pants either, Scotty, but you butt toucher. Yeah, that's me, all right. Dave, I probably wouldn't make the same mistake if you were standing next to me. So
Keep telling yourself that.
there it is. There it is.
Just remember who's standing next to you tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to not touch John's butt at the moment. So, yeah, weird things happen around here.
It's always a good time, though. Good fun.
It is. It
Every
is.
time the baby monitor on.
And so, what do we got? We got 6 minutes of this show left. And so that's where I wanted to go with the Harry Potter argument tonight. There's a little bit more to that has to do with, there's some segments from his book. Let's see, you guys can handle this while we talk about this. It said right here, Neil had stressed that while Christians can interpret symbols in Harry Potter within a biblical paradigm, these associations weren't deliberately intended by Rowling. They said, we Christians can associate the symbol of the lion for Gryffindor house and with the biblical symbol of Jesus, supremely good, who is known as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. We can associate the snake of Slytherin house with the biblical symbol of the evil one, represented as the serpent. However, we must remain absolutely clear on this point. The author of Harry Potter never makes any association between Harry Potter's fantasy world and Satan, the devil, or any other aspect of the occult spiritual forces revealed in the Bible as real in our spiritual world. If we chose to create such an association, it's our own world choice. It's our own choice. And so there have been all these similarities that get made in all of this stuff. And I think it's a little too much. I like to just take the stories at their surface value. You read them because you enjoy them. You watch the movies because you enjoy them. I like the imagery. I love the way the movies progressed. So all of that is something that we're going to look at a little bit more tomorrow. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Saturday. But again, next Monday, we're going to hit this topic again. We're going to talk about this. All we're doing right now for the last few days is laying the groundwork for all of this stuff about these fascinating similarities between the Harry Potter story and the Jesus story, not on a spiritual level as much as it is on a comparative literary level. And so we're just trying to lay out the good or the basics here so we get an idea. What does Matthew Sainsbury say here? He says, I saw on YouTube of David slaying Goliath with the stone, and it's Hanna-Barbera, but they put words to make you laugh with the animation. They had Goliath crying like when the rock hit his head. Yeah, that's all kind of silly stuff. I think if you're going to tell a story, it's like, you know what ticks me off more than anything is when I know a movie that's made of an historical event or person. And you go, wait a minute, I know this history. That didn't happen that way. And it grates me. And they totally lose me in a movie when the actual history is so rich and colorful, but they got to juice it up for Hollywood. Even Hanna-Barbera. Goliath had to cry when the stone hit. I don't think he cried. I think it didn't. Doesn't the Bible story say the stone sank into his forehead and he went to the ground, and David walks over and takes his sword and cuts off the head of Goliath. Shunk. And you know what's interesting about that story is that Goliath, I don't know what you guys are doing back there. It says that David took the head and sword of Goliath back to Jerusalem with him after that event, because the king makes him the captain of his bodyguard, which also tells you David was no little kid. He was probably late teens, early 20s, something. He was just the youngest son. But he took the head of Goliath and the sword of Goliath back to Jerusalem with him. The interesting thing was, at that chronological point in David's life, he doesn't conquer Jerusalem for another 13 years. So how did he take the head and the sword back to Jerusalem with him? Well, he took it to Jerusalem when he conquered Jerusalem, which tells you something. He was a tribal chieftain. He was constantly warring, constantly subduing other tribes. And he probably took, as was the custom of the day, took that head of Goliath, dried it, put it up on a pole. And that was probably one of his banners. He took that head to Jerusalem, all right, when he was sacking it. And he probably used the sword of Goliath after that, for all we know. And so interesting stories about these historical figures. So the real history is sometimes very much cooler than... and by the way, did you know that for David, one of the promises that King Saul made to the guy who was going to, if anybody can stand up to this Goliath and take him, I'll make his family tax-free in Israel. I'll give him my daughter as a wife, and I will make him the captain of my bodyguard. And so David, when he wins these things, what Saul already knew is that Samuel the prophet had already anointed David to take the place of Saul. And so he's not going to give him his daughter now. That strengthens his ties. What happens to Saul's own son then when it comes to being the king? And so Saul ups the ante. Do you know this part of the David and Goliath story? In order for David to get those prizes, Saul said, well, you have to bring me 100 Philistine foreskins. And it says, and David brought him double the number. So, David went around with the foreskins of the men he defeated in war. It's in the Bible, exactly, story. That's exactly it. It said that David brought him twice as many as he asked for. Could you imagine throwing that bloody sack at the feet of the king and go, here's your 200 foreskins? And there probably weren't many Philistines that gave up their foreskins willingly. So what did David have to do? He had to go out and slaughter Philistine men to get their foreskin. Could you imagine that, being part of that army? Where are we going, my lord? We're going to slaughter Philistines, and we need their foreskins. Could you imagine being on the battlefield? Or did they hire guys? Guys had to go on behind them. Now, every man that we slay, we need you to cut off his foreskin, put it in a sack. I mean, could you just imagine that? I see a Monty Python scenario with this. So
it does sound like more of a bit.
Yeah. And by the way, that's the part of the David and Goliath story you don't learn in Sunday school. So, and by the way,
they're not in there talking about foreskins.
Here's our little felt character of David, and here's Goliath. Oh, and he hits him with the stone. Oh, now he has to. Here's David's sack of foreskins. You don't see much of that. Sean Stroik is not collecting foreskins. You obviously don't want to marry the princess or be the captain of the bodyguard, Sean. So, not very ambitious there, are we? So, anyway, I might as well. We've talked about this before in other series, but since we're already over time and we'll wrap this up, did you know? Remember, when we were talking about David, I said the story of King David. I said it's the real life story of an invented hero. Meaning, I think the man existed. There's no doubt in my mind that he existed historically, and he did the things he did. He united the clans of Israel and Judea, and he became the unified king. But then shortly, it was 2 monarchies later. Well, not monarchies. It was I think under his grandson, after Solomon, it all fell apart, and they divided again into Israel and Judea, or Judea. But the interesting thing about David and the story of Goliath, I think a lot of this was apologetic, which is when you have authors that will write something about a famous person in order to make them look better and make their enemies look more evil. And I think we saw this with King Saul, the way he was written in the stories of David, all the events of David's life, all the guys that died around David, all his sons that died that might have challenged him. David was always conveniently out of the room. And I think he was written that way. You have pants on?
Yeah, I got pants on now.
All right.
Oh, damn.
My beautiful wife is here.
I took a shower, but I didn't wash my hair.
Gross. Well, come on over and say hi with you. You and your clean body, dirty hair.
Do you smell good? No. Want to smell my hair?
Let's see. Come over here. I'll smell your hair.
It smells stale.
So
It smells clean to me.
you were just, we heard that you were pantsless not long
I
ago.
was. Well, somebody was banging on the door and jiggling the door handle.
Well,
I figured
Gosh, who
if it
was
was an
that?
intruder, I would scare them away. Why is everybody touching my butt? I've just been violated by lots of hands.
there you go. See, this is what I do when Rainey's always here. We're
Wait,
talking.
we'll go that way. There we go.
And I've always got my hand behind her. And now you take note of this, Brianna. I was doing this. And I always do this. I always do this. I almost did that.
He did not do that.
See, Rainey's wearing boxers right now and a tank top. This are jammies. And so my hand, when she'll be here talking to you about
No makeup.
stuff. Yeah, no makeup. And my hand, I always slide my hand down her boxers and I pat her bare buttock. Now, there's a secret revealed on air. And now she's taking my hand out. So, oh, no.
Why was your hand in my pants, Scotty?
Rainey did that.
Nuh-uh.
So,
Go this way. There we go. I forgot we're
what
all...
you doing?
I'm trying to make it so everybody's all in.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
There. Now we're all in. So, anyway, is she wearing them backwards, the boxers? Oh,
Yeah. That's
What a
not my
good
penis
idea.
hole. That's my butthole.
that's her butthole. So, yeah. So I'm always doing that. Here, everybody quiet. If you can hear this on the mic. See, I'm always doing that when Rainey and I are sitting here on air on Sunday mornings and stuff. It's not meant to be anything untoward. It's not meant to be anything overtly sexual. It's just she's standing here and this is what I do when we sit next to each other and we talk. And so no thank you, said Story. I'm not sure what I missed there. Oh, how much did you pay per foreskin? Oh yeah, the whole foreskin talk. Yeah.
Ew.
So so there you go. Nice portrait
Whose
of
hands in
everybody.
my pants now?
That's mine.
Sorry.
Okay,
That's mine. That's Brianna's. We got to go now. So, stupid voice to text is
I'm
Dave
clean,
Potter. What
let's
did he
go
say?
now.
He says, "Hey, Rainey." Oh, I think it was the spelling.
That's okay. No
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah, no judgment here.
Hi, Dave.
So,
Dave spelled it wrong.
Butt toucher. He is a
butt toucher. That is me. That is me. Can't help myself though. So, it's a good thing.
The man whoring butt toucher.
Yeah.
Hair looks super long.
Who said that?
I said that.
Oh. I've had a lot of habit of touching my girlfriends instinctively also. There it is, Corey Blake. I mean, Corey Blake, it
Hi,
blocked
Barbara
your it blocked your
Didn't you almost at the garage sale grab someone's butt too? No, where were we? We were somewhere and you were like, whoa.
I said that to you, right?
No.
I didn't say that to somebody else.
Oh, maybe,
I said that
yeah,
to you.
maybe it was just me.
I think I said to Rainey, because she was standing next to me, this other woman at some store or something where we were at, and she turned around. We were all talking. It's because it's instinctive for me. I turn around. I always touch. I'm very tactile. And Rainey, I'll touch her. I'll do something. But I think I almost put my arm around a woman once, thinking it was my wife. So there you go. I used to rub my ex's leg in school all the time, but then the teachers told me to stop. And Corey like, you stop that now, little Corey. Mr. Blake, you want to share that with the whole class? So,
Or maybe he was touching the teacher and the teacher said stop.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, which way was it?
Yeah.
That's the way I understood it the first time.
I used to rub my ex's legs in school all the time, but then the teacher told me to stop.
That could be two different ways.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to explain that one to us, Corey. So, well, folks, there you go. Yeah, fun, says Matthew Sainsbury. It's so much fun here. We can't stand it some days.
Everybody is welcome to come visit and join in the fun.
Yeah.
The 27th through
Oh, yeah.
6th.
Yeah. Because
It'll
we'll be
be
moving
lots of
house. Moving house. If you have a pickup truck, you're welcome to come drive across country.
I might even let
And
you touch
meet
my
us.
butt.
Wow, really?
Everybody else does.
You're putting that offer out there.
Someone's touching my butt right now, and it's not you.
It's not me. I see who it is.
It's John.
Keep your hands off my wife's butt.
Yeah.
So there it is. Steve Clark, my first kiss was in the first grade behind the gym. Nice. Mine was in 5th grade with Linda Byrosh.
I was 18.
So you were 18?
I was 18 when I had my first kiss.
Nice.
I was in 1st grade.
And then she met
I
me.
don't remember that far back.
Yeah, really. We'll have to talk about that some night. Everybody get up your stories of your first kisses and things like that. I think that might be kind of fun.
Mine was at the new Somerset Elementary School.
Somerset, your first kiss?
Yeah.
Were you a parent or a student?
It was when they built the elementary school in Somerset.
Oh, gotcha.
Well,
Gotcha.
It's not new
So
anymore.
construction worker? Oh.
No. It was underneath the blue slide.
Nice.
Oh, the blue slide.
Notorious blue
The
slide.
I had
notorious
I
blue
had blue
slide.
mascara on and everything, I remember.
Wow. How old were you?
1st grade.
Your parents thought you were mascara?
Sneak it.
Wow.
My aunt
Have you
had
not met our daughter?
it. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping our daughter a 6-year-old out of makeup is difficult.
Even the 9-year-old.
3
She's
different
been
girls at the
sneaking naked.
time.
They even put makeup on you.
Makeup. I said naked. My brain's gone. I only had 3 hours of sleep.
That's a
last night.
Freudian slip, is what that is. So
I'm living off 3 hours of sleep in the last 2 days.
mine was a girl camping, says Sean Stroik. She tricked me and stole it.
You damn girls.
Those green-eyed,
Those
spitting
darn
females.
Girl Scouts.
Those darn blow-ups.
Yeah, the Girl Scouts.
Those darn blow-ups will get you every time.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, if you don't blow them up.
buy some of my Girl Scout macaroon cookies. I'll give you a kiss. That's how they did it. And girls know how to get guys too, you know. If a guy, I was thinking this earlier today, if a guy came up to a woman and did something like this and without saying any words went, huh? You know, what would the girl do? The girl punch him or call harassment or something. If a girl came up to a guy and went, the guy'd be like, now, let's go. I mean, there's such a difference in male and female mentality about these things. So it's the way we're wired, folks.
Well, there's a comedian that was talking about that on how men supposedly instigate sex more than women.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's not true. I think it's
see the butt
50-50 because when women instigate sex, it happens.
Yeah.
So
You watched that last night
Yeah.
on TikTok.
When guys instigate sex, it's kind of roll of the dice.
Yeah.
When a woman instigates sex, it's like, it's 100%.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there. So there it is. Matthew Sainsbury is going to go get some rest. I think we're going to do the same thing.
Yeah. Good night, Matthew.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. What was that?
Gets me every
Steve
time.
Clark. Blonde hair and blue eyes just knocks me
Just
out.
knocks me out. There we go.
There you go.
I
Blonde
can't
hair,
read.
blue eyes.
Mhm.
Rainey's got ice blue eyes, but she's brunette. So, all right, folks. Well, that was our show tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. And we're on Monday. We're going to pick this series back up, get more into this very interesting crossover between these two literary characters. And you all have a great Saturday. Saturday's the day off for this show. You can stand up now, Rainey. There you go. Well, you gonna
Everybody did
stand
that.
up, or yeah, there you go. Everybody raises up. And so what all was I going to say?
Stuff.
Something about live long and prosper.
Oh, that comes later.
Okay.
I knew that part.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sunday, I was going to mention Sunday morning. If you're not doing anything Sunday morning, we do a Sunday morning show. And if Rainey is not massaging on Sunday, I don't know if
Brady's
she's
not
or
running
not.
the garage sale Sunday morning.
Sunday morning,
shoot, I
whatever.
forgot about that.
You're going to start letting people think that everything else comes before you being here.
Well, then it's got to be quick. It's gonna be quickie.
Yeah, it'll be a quickie. It's always a quickie.
I'm trying to sell stuff for money, people.
Yeah. So, no, we'll have a Sunday morning. It's Sunday with Rainey and me at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. out east, 7 a.m. left coast, sorry. And, of course, on Mondays through Fridays, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so we'll see you here. And I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for giving me your time and your input on things. It's good to have you all here. And I hope you come back. If you like the show, spread the word. If you want to be a member of the channel, become a member of the channel and join.
Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below.
Thank you, Rainey.
You're welcome.
I wasn't even going to say that part. She
I
did
know.
for
Well,
us.
you were going on and on, then I was waiting for it. So I figured you wouldn't do it, so I had to.
There
Hit
you go.
like and subscribe down below.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Let's get everybody in there. There you
I
are.
had to.
You had to.
I had to.
All right, folks. You have a good rest of your Friday night and have a good weekend. We'll see you here Sunday morning. And until then, you know what? Same as always.
Live long and prosper.
And prosper. Rainey didn't do it. Can you do that? There it is.
sorry, Rainey.
That's okay. Ooh, I'll do backwards. I feel like a gang fun. Oh,
Bye.
bye.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAlanRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, AlanRoberts.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.